scriptures, the teachings that God has given unto us pertaining his kingdom. And if you are a Christian and you don't know why you are going to church, you are not going to see the significance of church itself, because you don't know what church is about. Okay? And it is one of the reasons why you must understand why church. Why are people establishing churches? Why is church in the Bible? So that if you are a Christian, you know the origin of why there is a church. Okay, so you must understand that church was a backup plan. Let me show you this. When God created Adam and Eve, the purpose of God was to reach man through family. Everything was on family basis. That was why God was visiting Adam and Eve in the garden. The backup plan of God, when man sinned, then everything changed of family. So God does not still, I mean, in our ages, God still do not joke with family. Family is an important thing to God, an important institution for God. And God wanted to maintain family and worship with family. But Adam sinned. And this goes to the head. So headship is very, very important. God was always consulting Adam because he was the head. When this headship broke down, God needed to take charge. So you see that in scriptures, family now changed. Family changed, then we had nations. So we had different kinds of nations, but God chose only one nation to work with, and that was the nation of Israel. So you see that the nation of Israel became God's own. So now God was not dealing with family any longer. God dealt with families: Adam, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. He was always moving with the family heads. But it changed and it came to the nations. So God was working with nations and he chose Moses to lead the nation. Now, out of these nations, then it came to kingdoms. God said that, look, the nation of Israel, you are mine. And now they told Samuel that, no, we want a king. Meaning that they wanted a kingdom just like other nations also had kingdoms. So everything changed in the world, and the world became a place of kingdoms. So we have the kingdom of Egypt, kingdom of Babylon, the kingdom of Greece, and all that. And that is what we are holding right now. How the kingdoms came into being. So these kingdoms, now Christ says that he's going to raise another kingdom, and that is the church. So now God does not deal with kingdoms any longer, because he says that when he establishes his kingdom, it will break all these kingdoms. And that is why today God is dealing with us with church. And there is headship. Here there was kingship. Here the nation of Israel, God was the one leading them. He was taking laws from them and all that. And this one, the head was the man. But now, look at the journey. This is from creation to our generation. So in our generation right now, God is dealing with church, and the head is Christ. That is the reason why we are worshiping God through Christ. Because now God is not dealing with kingdoms, God is not dealing with nations any longer. God is dealing with church. So Satan is very, very wise to say that, okay, if God is dealing with church, then let me do multiplicity of churches so that I'll confuse them. So if you don't learn it and know that what church is God now using to bring people closer to himself, just like he was using the head of the family to bring the family closer to himself, you are going to miss it. And the things churches are doing currently today, in fact, it's so abnormal. The things people are saying with their mouths, people who are saying that they are prophets, people who are saying that they are pastors, they are evangelists. If it doesn't concern you, then it really worries me that today, in our world today, our pastors bathing women. He says that we are all from God. If the person speaks of the name of Christ, it is okay. It is not okay. You need to be able to distinguish as a Christian, because the Bible says that we are not fighting against flesh and blood. We are fighting against principalities and powers that are above there. Everything about church is spiritual thing. We have not seen Christ with our naked eyes before. So everything is about belief. So whatever that we are doing here is a spiritual thing. It is not a physical thing. So if you see physical churches over there, don't just look at it as a church. Go into it spiritually and see what they are doing. Does it pertain? Does it correspond to what the Bible is saying? If it does not, then you have to be careful. And that is the reason why we are learning all these things, so that you know the origin of the church, what you should see about church. Then you find out that when you are reading the Gospels, you will see kingdom of heaven is at hand. Kingdom of heaven is at hand. Kingdom of heaven is at hand. So I explained in the script. Whenever you are hearing kingdom of heaven is at hand, people will say, what is that kingdom of heaven? Or when you are reading Matthew chapter 6 about the prayer that thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. What is the meaning? Thy kingdom come, thy will be done as it is in heaven. So it is the same thing that you were saying, a kingdom of heaven, kingdom of heaven. Because when the kingdom comes, it will be as it is in heaven. So you need to understand that. Why is he saying that the kingdom is as it is in heaven? Then you come to realize that when it talks about heaven, what happens in heaven? Okay, so in heaven, there is God, there is a ruler. So it means that in his church, there will be a ruler, there will be a head, and that head is Christ. That is the reason why a man cannot be a head of the church. A man cannot be the overseer of the church. A man cannot be a founder of a church. So if I go and establish a church and you see founder of the church, as a church, Christ is the head of the church. That is the reason why in churches of Christ, you are never going to see someone as a founder. Even if I go to a village and I go and evangelize and people come to Christ, I will not put my name on it that I am the founder of the church. No, I will just leave and go, and the church will continue. Okay? Why? Because in heaven, the ruler is God. And if that rulership should happen in the kingdom of earth, then it means that that same ruler should rule his church. And you find out that there is order. In heaven, there is order. Things are not done disorderly. Things are done orderly. Orderly manner. So in the church, there must be order. Now, in order, there are two things: assignments and attitudes. You remember in heaven, we read that Satan was thrown out of heaven. Why? Attitude. In the church, when the kingdom comes onto this earth, there should be order. And the order is assignment. Assignments is the organization of the church. How is the church organized? What assignments have been given to elders? What assignments have been given to deacons? What assignments have been given to preachers? What assignments have been given to members? What assignments have been given to people, men who are leading the worship? What assignments have been given to men who are leading prayers? What are your assignments as a member, as maybe a committee member, benevolence committee member, whoever that you are? What is your assignment? Because in heaven, there is order. So in the church, there must be order. You must find what you are doing, your assignment in the church. So when Christ is saying that when you are praying, pray that the kingdom comes and it should be done as it is in heaven. One is the rulership. The second one is the order that should happen in the church. So the church should not be disorganized, that everybody can do whatever that. No. So when you look into the scriptures, when you look into the New Testament church, you will see that there was order. Paul was writing to them, this is what you should do. This is what you should not do. Okay, so we keep order. And number 3 is that Sorry, let me. There are boundaries, there are territories. Every kingdom has its own boundary and territory. You cannot go beyond your kingdom and own something over there. You have whatever that you have inside your kingdom. So every kingdom has boundary and territory. Heaven is heaven. So if you read the book of Job, Satan came into the presence of God and God asked him, where from thou? Where are you coming from? Your place is not here. Because there is a territory, because there is a boundary. Now, this tells us that the kingdom of God on earth must also have a boundary. Now, you heard a person who was doing the Lord's Supper. That is why he said that when you are not baptized, you cannot partake in the Lord's Supper. The question, why? Because the person is not part of the territory. The person is not part of the boundary. The person is not part of the kingdom people. And if you are not part of the kingdom people, you are not supposed to partake in things that are being taken by the kingdom people. So there is a territory. And that is why the Bible says that what has a believer got to do with an unbeliever? I think 1 Corinthians chapter says, all of them have been captured there. So you ask yourself that you do not have to have yoke. Don't have yoke with an unbeliever. It tells you that there is a boundary. Galatians chapter 5 verse 16, 17 and 18. The flesh and the spirit, they are two different things. There is the flesh and there is the spirit. So you must know where you belong. So people who say that, oh, we are all one, we are all one. Check it well. Check your scriptures very well. We are not one. We are not all that one. I've been doing counseling for a period of time now for people who are entering into marriage. Have time with them. Have chance with people who are marrying among themselves, like Churches of Christ people. And other people who are marrying outside the church. My brother and my sister, it's a two different thing altogether. It's a two different thing altogether. When you and someone are in the same faith, it's a different thing than when both of you are of different faith. Sometimes we say that, oh, we are all brethren, we are all mentioning the name of Christ. When it comes to reality, sit down with them, go with them through counsel, and you find out that this person is watching here and this person is watching there. Because the foundation of marriage is built on God. Foundation of marriage is not built on your sentiments. So when this person is bringing his belief in God, and this person also bringing her belief in God, the marriage has to stand on God, and you find out that the foundation is shaking. This is by experience that I'm telling you. This is not by any quotations. So there are boundaries, there are limits that you can actually go. Okay? So this is the reason why we are learning all these things. You take it, you learn it, you study it very well, then you pass it on to your children. I will end here. Next week, we are not doing our Bible class because of the fasting and prayers. Second and third week of July, we are going on to another. Now, we want to go into the church itself. What do they do? What are some of the assignments? And what are some of the attitudes that needs to be displayed by members who are inside this kingdom? If there's any question, please, you can ask so that we can close. My brother.